Hi, my name is NICOLETT Yaroshevsky, and this is my marine ecology project presentation, and I hope you guys enjoy. So for my project, I chose to do coral reefs, and I chose this organism because I know that it's been a vital aspect of our learning experience during this course, and I thought that we learned so much about it that I really want to deep dive into it more because there definitely are some questions I had before I started this project, and I wanted to address them during this. So, yeah. When thinking about the biology of coral reefs, they are one of the most diverse ecosystems in the world. They are animals and they are related to jellyfish. They are formed by tiny plobs, which seem hard, of calcium carbonate exoskeletons over time, and this creates the complex structure that they are. They are also called the rainforests of the sea. Get it? The three types of reefs there are is fringing, which is the most common type, grown directly from the shore, and they have a spur and groove structure. Secondly is the barrier shape. They parallel to the coastline and they reach the shallowest points and form a barrier to navigate. Thirdly is the atoll type of reef. It is a ring-shaped coral reef and they usually enclose lagoons. On the other hand, there are two types of corals. They're hard and soft. Hard corals build reefs with calcium carbonate skeletons called cyclomatitans. Soft corals cannot produce rigid skeletons and they cannot form reefs. Interesting. The requirements of the coral reefs to grow in these waters is they usually prefer warm waters that range from 23 to 29 Celsius, and included with that, they like clear, shallow, and nice sunlit waters. But they do like low nutrient levels, that is the same as low sedimentation. If you look on the right, you can see the three types of reefs, and a little more to the left-hand side, you see the two types of corals. Noticing on the soft coral is have like a groovy shape and it is more fluffy looking, while the hard ones are very stick looking like a tree. On the reefs, you can see them in the water. They are much larger. Most interesting to me is the atoll one because it looks like an island. It's so cool, and the water inside of it is way lighter, which I found really interesting when doing my research. Secondly, how did these occur? Coral reefs are found in shallow, warm, tropical, and subtropical waters globally, especially around the north and south latitudes. They are less than 1% of the ocean floor, but 25% of the ocean's fish depend on healthy coral reefs. So there is a very high demand for them, even though they lack. Their major regions are in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, which is the largest, including with the Coral Triangle that includes Indonesia, Philippines, and New Guinea, which has the highest biodiversity. The reef types are by location, though. As we learned by the three different types of reef types in the following slide, the fringing reefs are common near volcanic islands and continental shores, just like Hawaii, while barrier reefs are farther from the shore and they're separated by lagoons, for example, the Great Barrier Reef. Lastly, atolls are the ring-shaped ones, but are often found in the Central Pacific, like the Maldives. Their environmental influences require sunlight for their symbiotic algae and zones that are rich in nutrients and sediment but are not substantial. Climate change is shifting, but is suitable for habits, but the growth is limited by light saturation. At least 500 million people rely on coral reefs for food. Isn't that an interesting fact? They provide food for many fish, and since humans eat fish, coral reefs instead feed animals. They have a vital habitat with biodiversity, but are facing numerous threats, which we will get to shortly. They act like as a barrier during storms. As a buffer, they are able to slow down water flow and prevent coastal erosion. Coral reefs clean water that they are in. They eat the particles found in the ocean just like a vacuum. Coral reefs date back to 240 million years. Isn't that crazy? They are usually grow to 5,000 to 10,000 years old, but some can only live a couple years. Their natural colors come from the zoanthothy and the pigments that are used as a form of UV radiation protection and communication with other reefs. The ecosystem that they're in is very diverse, community of species that interact with each other and the physical objects. They are a protective environment and help zoanthothy with photosynthesis. But how do they help? They provide coastal protection by absorbing wave energy, a food source to water, and tourism economy through diving, snorkeling, and other water activities. Through the carbon and nutrient cycling through habitize the marine life, provides very much stableness, and they're consumers in the ecosystem. There are 3 different levels. The primary consumers, which are herbivorous fish and sea urchins, the secondary consumers, which are small fish that are carnivorous, and lastly, tertiary consumers, which are sharks and large predators like other eels. But what are their threats? Climate change is the biggest one through coral bleaching, and it provides thermal stress through the increase of carbon. During 2014 to 2017, coral bleaching rose and warm waters occurred through the CO2 phase, which affected 70% of coral reef ecosystems in the world. Isn't that crazy? There are only less than 1%, but 70% were affected. Imagine how the 25% of fish in the world that rely on these animals, how were they affected also? They weaken coral. The ocean acid weakens coral skeletons. Pollution, which is kind of like climate change, includes plastic and excess waste harm marine life. Overfishing disturbs the food webs, and coral development increases sedimentation. And the effects stress coral, leading to coral bleaching and deaths and other physical damage. In the diagram over here, you can see some other ones. And these are my sources. So where I got information from each slide was the U.S. Geology site. This was the NOAA one. This was the facts one in the middle. This was also NOAA and the geographical one. This was NOAA as well. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed.